Alright friends, welcome back to Tactical Enlightenment. You're watching another episode of our Expert Tactics series, showing some of the most difficult battles I've faced in my campaign, and then deploying complicated and unique tactics to overcome these formidable challenges. Alright again friends, welcome back to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to helping you out there get better at Bannerlord through the use of advanced tactics and field command. Now, I made the mistake after leaving this successful defense of Varcheg in the last episode of not leaving a sizable garrison there. I went to a couple local castles to add reinforcements because they were headed north to besiege Revel, and lo and behold, the Sturgians decided to take advantage of that. They evidently wheeled around, and now after facing a massive Khuzait force there, my frontier is under assault by a huge Sturgian force attacking Varcheg. At this stage of the campaign, we are officially attacking everybody. It's war against everybody, and evidently it's a free-for-all on one of these critical castles. It looks like one of the party members that I disbanded did go inside, but the Sturgians are streaming in. This seems to be a theme in my late game campaign. When the enemies attack, it seems like it's 3/4 of their realm attacking. Armies from all over seem to get called into the assault. So we've got a sizable force here. Sturgia represents different challenges than Khuzait, and quite honestly, my army alignment, my army composition is better suited to fight Sturgia than any other force, and that's because we move fast and we have ranged units. Less opponents, so we're going to run at normal player damage here. And less opponents, I mean that we're not even outnumbered 2-1 relative to the rest of the battles in the campaign. This will be a walk in the park, right? Nevertheless, 3,800 Sturgians. Of course, their primary strength is their very, very tough infantry, shield wall infantry, very tough shield walls, and heavy infantry, shock troops. And then they are supplemented by a pretty decent cavalry corps. So again, we're going to use this ridge. This actually is a little deja vu. I fought a battle here like 3 or 4 days ago. Very similar circumstances, very similar placement. Just this time it's obviously Sturgia instead of Khuzait. Still outnumbered about 2-1. We're going to try a little different approach though, because they're not going to be attacking us and circling us with horse archers. I do see they do have some cavalry that probably have javelins, but we are effectively going to try to fold on the enemy in a T-shaped offensive pattern here. I'm going to use my cavalry as protective wings, the second cav on the right, and the third cav on our, second cav on our left and third cavalry on our right. And then we're going to set up our archers here, higher elevation than the Sturgians. The Sturgians are downfield of us. That'll give us better range advantage, and because of this ridge, we'll be able to sit atop this ridge and really just pound the enemy with arrow and projectile fire, protected by these 2 long cavalry lines. Now, those unfamiliar with the channel, these are cavalry lines in shield wall. This is about 60, one of them 60, the other one's 80 cavalry, and they're basically in very big long lines. And what we're just trying to do here is protect the edges, limit how many of these Sturgian javelin throwers get back here and penetrate our backfield, so to speak. We don't need these guys, killing our archers with javelin. So for the moment, we're going to focus on that. But our archers are also positioned now. There's about probably 60 Battanian Fiend champs and maybe another 40 or 50 very strong, very tough archers, including our companions, that are now spread out, the 5th Corps on the right here and the 4th Corps on the left. I do have skirmishers, and at some point, if and when we have the opportunity, we're going to use our very fast mobile units to surround and destroy the enemy. The enemy has their main force in a defensive jumble down there of archers and infantry. I've found this highly ineffective as a strategy by the enemy. They're sending in their cavalry here. They're only moderately supported. They're shooting arrows at us, but their infantry really should be attacking at the same time. It'd be a much more significant challenge, even though I definitely have a strategy to handle that as well if they did that. So for the short term, all we're doing is sort of dispersing their cavalry. Right, they're making these sort of disjointed cavalry attacks, and we're going to go ahead and focus our firepower, kill some nobles, and then we'll move in for the kill on their main vanguard. Their main vanguard is still very formidable. I'm not going to just charge into their infantry here. They outnumber us, and it's going to be a fierce force. There's probably 150, maybe 200 infantry, and 215 archers as well. They have a lot of sword sisters, which is kind of curious. Sturgia definitely has some of the weakest archers in the game, but if they have sword sisters, that's definitely going to make them more formidable. So the main cavalry bank is basically destroyed or highly limited for the Sturgians. So we're going to start our developing attack here, enveloping / circling. On the top there, on our left flank, what I'm doing is I'm moving in our 2nd Cav Corps, again spreading a big long shield wall to prevent a lot of these arrows getting through and really hurting our archers. Meanwhile, I've got the 4th Archers, the 8th Corps, which is my elite unit, and the 6th Skirmishers over here. This is our left flank, and we're basically just going to slowly surround the enemy. And then I'll probably ram cavalry up the ass of their force, just for good measure here. I still see a few enemy cav. Look at those archers on the hill are just raining death. I still see a few enemy cav, but they're reduced to this point to that they're just a shadow of their threat. So now I'm removing the shield from the left flank. That's the 2nd cav. Swing in the back here and just interrupt some of these fucks. They got Battanian Fee enchants too in there. You know, it's not a weak force by any means, but we're already decimating at range. And now we're really going to give it a death thrust here with this cav charge behind me. So I'm going to drag this 2nd Cav Corps. They're being shot in the front. They have to keep the shield wall in the front. But we're just going to drive this cavalry mass. This is about 80 heavy horse right up their ass. You know, they're being shot in the front. My skirmishers at this stage are probably throwing javelins. And here come the heavy horse right into the archers, right? Just an absolute disaster for the enemy. And now I'm just having them follow me so that they inflict maximum damage and get through them. I don't want my cav getting mangled by their infantry. I see a lot of them are kind of trapped on the back there, so I'm going to position them off to the side. You'll get losses anytime you charge infantry with cav like that, but between the two effects there, archers shooting them in the front, that was a pretty nasty counterattack. So now I'm going to reposition archers on this hill. They've got reinforcements already pouring in, right? You typically get reinforcements when 40 to 50% of your forces are killed. So the enemy's... Now I'm going to have these cav... Their forces are sort of repositioning here. This is an opportunity. I'm just going to have this cav drive again right into their masses, right? They're trying to reform, and my cav here is just driving right through them, right? Just killing the stragglers, killing the guys trying to reform. And meanwhile, we're going to take the high ground here. This ridge is beautiful, right? I've got my 3rd cav, now I've got my 2nd cav spread in big lines. And what those lines do is prevent the enemy from charging in cav, interrupting your archers, and of course they absorb a lot of arrows too from the enemy archers simply targeting foolishly. The screen is almost all green, right? The enemy's getting mangled. Even their reinforcements are getting mangled. They're moving up an infantry vanguard. We're going to have to deal with that, and I have just the idea to handle that. We're going to do a little ridge attack here. So even though we're winning this battle, we could just blunt force attack them here. We're going to show you how to utterly demolish them. Right? So we're going to pull our forces quickly over this ridge. 4th and 5th Corps, 6th Skirmishers, and the Elite 8th, kind of forming a big arch up there. At some point or other, I'll freeze frame this or slow-mo so you can see. Now I'm pulling the Cav Corps, right? We're going to bring that Cav there. I don't want their infantry arriving at our Cav and just mangling our guys. I may pull one of these cavalry corps through. Look at this fucking hill. I can't move up it. I might pull one of these Cav Corps kind of through them to interrupt them. They're pursuing with a small amount of cavalry, but we're not concerned about that. Where's their infantry? There they are. All right, so they're off to the left. And here's the key to this strategy. See their infantry there. Kill some more of these horse archers that are retreating. Their archers and infantry back there, or archers and reinforcements, can't support them. 175 guys on that ridge. That's the enemy vanguard. They're getting pelted right now by arrows as they come over that ridge. What we're going to do is we're going to attack them with 4 divisions at once. So I'm going to set that cavalry division back. This is the 2nd Cav. What we're going to do is dismount these guys. And then to the north, or to the enemy's right, our left currently, I'm going to position troops, the 6th and the 8th. Those guys are going to collapse on the enemy side. I'm going to move these archers back here. You can always kite the Sturgians, right? If you have the forethought to move in advance. So I've dismounted that cavalry. They're now backpedaling. That's going to get the enemy's attention. They're kind of wading through the unridden horses there. And look at this cav division coming over. I told them to follow me. Let me show you. I had this cav division stand on the other side. Now, almost like Gladiator, right? These guys are coming in like Russell Crowe and his savages with their cav. I got the 6th and 8th on the side there, and it's going to be a multi-pronged attack, right? They're being attacked in the front by a shield wall. That's the dismounted infantry or former cavalry. Then we're going to ram this cavalry up their ass. I'll do this in slow-mo here. The infantry, which is 2 guys, the 6th Corps, the 8th Corps attack, that 2nd Corps attack, and then this cav corps comes in behind them. And this vanguard of about 200 Sturgians is about to get liquidated. Look, they're getting some kills at the beginning, but watch the death scroll here as we start to circle and just pound the fuck out of this group. And these are tough troops, right? I mean, these are their elite infantry. These are tier 5 infantry. This is their top guys, and they're just getting liquidated. And a big part of the reason this is successful is that their archers and reinforcements have nothing to do with this fight. These guys have been isolated. These guys were divided, and they were conquered. They're getting pounded with arrows on top of that. Anything that comes over that ridge is getting met with a hail of arrows and darts. So they're liquidated. We're going to reposition and see if the rest of the enemy is stupid enough to try to come over this ridge. This ridge I've named in some of my other episodes. The guy just got annihilated. Thanks for your shield, dude, since you don't need it. This strategy or this tactic I call a Peekaboo Ridge. The idea being that as soon as the enemy peeks their head above that ridge, they get shot with 50 arrows. Right? They have to come through this immolating fire of archers to have any chance of getting to us. And then, of course, at the bottom of the ridge, we have nasty troops waiting for them. Right? We're basically forcing them to come through this sort of hidden wall. Look at them coming over the ridge there. Now we attack, right? Let's send them the 6th, 8th. These guys can just charge and fucking mangle these people sort of straggling over the ridge. Now, one of the keys to the Peekaboo Ridge strategy is keeping archers back, but also only attacking your troops to the people that are on your side of the ridge. You don't want to get to the other side, right? Because then you're the one that's unsupported. So let them come to us. We're still seriously outnumbered, so the enemy's just going to keep on attacking. But it's just a wall of green up in the upper right. Right? The enemy is getting fucking massacred. You can see the arrows raining right at the edge of the cliff. My 6th Corps here, which is a lot of companions wielding savage weapons. They're just rolling up everything in sight. I still have this 2nd infantry line, right? It's 28 guys. It says cavalry, but that's all infantry. It's former cavalry, right? I told them to get off their horses. And again, my force is getting kind of close to the edge here. I've got this other cav division I'm going to assign just to their skirmishing cav. And again, we pull back the 6th, the 8th, and this 2nd cav division, formerly cav division. Let the enemy, let them come over that ridge, and look at them. You can just see them getting immolated by fire. They're just getting absolutely shredded. As soon as they get to the bottom again, right, as soon as our guys can charge, in we go. And look at the 8th Corps. Those are some of my most elite family members. They just went barreling in. The enemy has their rims lipped off. I mean, they're like getting massacred, falling down the hill. I'm in here causing carnage too. The archers, meanwhile, are still, firing away at anything over the ridge. And this Sturgeon force, frankly, is getting badly abused. This is the definition of having your shit put in. I mean, they are definitely getting their shit pushed in. To hell with you. So this is still my first wave. I haven't gotten a reinforcement wave, and I think we've already completely decimated 2, maybe even 3 enemy waves. Again, no reason to pour over this ridge as long as our archers have arrows, and they might have one last volley, one last salvo. We're just going to sit on this side. I see the enemy has some horse archers up there. They've got a little infantry corps here we can attack. It's like 30 or 40 guys. One of the advantages of pulling back like we did is the enemy is sort of coming in weak waves. Instead of 200 or 400 at a time, they're coming in 80, 60, some stragglers here. And a big problem for the enemy, of course, is their archers are on the other side. And to be honest, they're fucked either way, folks, because if they put their archers and they brought them up into play here, they would get massacred by massive ammunition fire, right? They would take even worse damage than the infantry from the arrow fire of our archers, because they don't even have, most of them don't even have shields. They would not be able to set up. They would just come over that ridge, be shot to fucking pieces, and not even get an arrow off. You see me sort of reserving fire. I've got the Battanian Fiend Champs and my other archers sort of saving their ammunition until the enemy's close. Now we charge. Again, I want the enemy to sort of commit to this side, get a bunch of their troops on this side, and then send my guys in. This way the enemy's cut off. They don't have any reinforcements that can get over that ridge. They're sort of pinched at the top, and it's just our guys charging the hill. And it's just a fucking steamroller. Now the Battanian Fiend Champs are in a melee, and we're just barreling. Even though we're fighting uphill, it's just a massacre. Here's their archers. So these guys can't shoot. You see a few of them with their bow out, but these guys, they're right next to me. They can't shoot, right? It's a problem for them. So shoving our way through their archers, right? Just going to barrel right through this. We're taking some losses here, right, just because of the sheer amount of enemies. These are not weak archers too. These are tier 4, tier 5 archers. So you still gotta work hard to get through these. But once we regain this ridge, I think we're going to open fire again and try to really gain some momentum in this battle. There is sort of a momentum-based system to Bannerlord. Mostly it has to do with inertia. The game has a good physics model. If you're moving forward, you do more damage than enemies that are backpedaling. So if you can get your enemy on their heels, so to speak, almost like a boxer, if you're the one moving forward, you're doing more damage. If they're backpedaling, their attacks have a lot less effect. The other part of it is, of course, is that if an enemy's getting routed really bad, their troops are routing, their troops they're reforming, and you can use that against them, right? You can actually see their troops right now are reforming. They're kind of in a chaotic state while they try to get their numbers aligned. You're right there. Their reinforcements are coming in, and the guys that are still left on the battlefield, what the game will try to do is backpedal, get those forces reunited, which is a good strategy. The problem, though, is that we know that's going to happen, and we're going to take advantage of it. They're trying to reform here. I've got this huge infantry line. This is our first reinforcement line, and I'm just going to shove these guys forward with the rest of our troops following them like a steamroller. So the third corps, they're in shield wall, and the rest of us are just going to charge behind them, obliterating everything that moves. The enemy's reforming again because they're getting massacred on such a bad level right there. They keep on trying essentially to reform new lines, but we're just not going to let them. I've got the Battanian Fiend Champs and the other high-ranked archers. This is still our first wave of allies. I've got them following me, right? And they're back there obliterating anything that moves. Okay, they've got a nice defensive line, but I don't care. We're shoving right into that. At this stage, they're down to tier 4, tier 3 troops. These guys are doing a magnificent job, just sort of defending. They got a little archer wave going, but we're just going to get right in their face. Fuck you. And we barrel right in, right? No mercy, no room for the enemy to breathe. Full out attack, in we go. It's a steamroller. We have the momentum, they're dead. See, you know, 1 death for every 10 of theirs. I've got cavalry charging on the flanks. Look at these guys. These guys are all reforming, and instead they get hit in the face with a huge axe. It's a very bad day. The other advantage of this kind of kamikaze attack in a battle like this is you can break the enemy's morale.
And what happens effectively is even if they have 1,000 troops left out of their force, a third or a quarter of their troops, they will leave. They will flee the battlefield. They will say, "Uncle, that's enough. We got massacred. We're out." So I'm sending the cav off again to a flank. I don't need them all bottled up here against good Sturgian infantry, right? We're going to use our cav dynamically. We're not just going to F1, F3. If you want to F1, F3, you don't need my channel, right? Again, we're going to move our troops up right into the face of their archers. They've got a good infantry line here that's defending pretty well. Again, this is Sturgia's infantry. They're exceptional. Even their 3rd and 4th tier infantry, pretty tough. And they've got a nice archer line developed there, right? These cav are trying to stab me in the back. Yeah, I eat cav like you for breakfast, dude. So again, this suicidal push with our infantry. The numbers are definitely reduced. But we're going to continue just to push in. We're just not going to give the enemy any chance. These archers are having to backpedal now, right? Because suddenly they have very angry infantry right in their face. And it's just brute force at this stage. I still have tier 5 troops left. I've got reinforcements pouring in. They're close enough that we're not going to have to actually pull off this attack. We're going to be able to continue this momentum until this battle is over. That earlier tactical combination that we used, those 5 or 6 different things, right? The cavalry screening, the surround and drown, the use of elevation, the use of the cavalry running behind the enemy. All of those tactics are now putting us in a position, right? The Peekaboo Ridge, those tactics are now putting us in a position where we can just steamroll the enemy here. Look at, they're reforming again. Another huge line of reinforcements just came in. It seems like every minute there's another line of reinforcements, and that's because we're killing so many of their troops. Right? This has been a fast and furious battle compared to the battle against the Khazars. Right? This is a 20-minute fill up the graveyards. Suddenly there's a lot of widows types of attack. Right? This is very easy to get a date if you're one of the blacksmiths who didn't join the Sturgians here in this battle. Right? There's 25 women. None of them have good teeth. Horrendous breath. But there's lots and lots of single ladies in the Sturgian taverns after this kind of battle, right? They lost 4,000 guys in 20 minutes. At this stage, I've taken, even with low player damage, I've taken hardly any damage, and so I'm just waiting in here like Conan the Barbarian, because I'm really hoping the enemy will rout soon and limit our losses, right? If this battle drags on a lot longer, we're going to suffer significant battle losses just because, again, we're outnumbered so significantly. So a little bit of reckless attack here, bringing these guys up. And now at this stage, I'm actually going to bring the archers and the infantry in sweeping lines here, because I think what we can do pretty soon is send our archers in physically too. Whenever you hear me say that, say physically send them in, it's using the pointers. If you tell archers to charge, they won't all just attack. The ones that are out of ammo will attack. They will come up and pull out their little skimpy sword. But if you physically move them into the enemy, if you send their whole line, like if you basically order them to go on the other side of the enemy, then they'll attack, right? You have to tell your archers to charge once they're in that state. They're reforming again up there. But if you send your archers right next to the enemy and then you tell them to attack, it's the same thing as basically charge for infantry. So at this stage, I'm just sending troops in aggressively, infantry, archers, and the main archer group. Just send them straight in, and this is either a rout or one last reforming by the enemy here. They're losing legs and arms. These guys are hoping to be the single guys left in the tavern with 9 wenches to choose from, right? The cowards, I guess, get laid. They can all say they were brave, fought it out. We're going to encourage them to go here with a little bit of savagery. I'd be surprised if they turn, but you never know sometimes. They actually still outnumber us, but they outnumber us since the beginning, and it hasn't done them an ounce of good. I get off this horse and just fucking butcher some guys. Yeah, see, they still want to fight. All right. Be careful here. I'm getting surrounded by guys. I am faster than most of these troops, so I'm not in any mortal peril here. I could just simply run away from them. drop my shield especially, I'd just be able to get away. They do seem intent on taking out the Jarl though, so we're going to catch a taxi here, send in the rest of the troops, and kill them at a distance. Insolent fucks. Well, I haven't had a lot of battles against Sturgia in my campaign, in the over 100 videos that we've shared so far on our channel. I've had numerous requests though. A lot of people, of course, are fighting against Sturgia and find their shield wall to be very difficult to overcome, find their infantry very formidable, especially if you're outnumbered. Hopefully these battles, hopefully this one and the earlier one, I think that's titled Know Your Enemy. Hopefully these two videos are highly beneficial for people dealing with Sturgia. It's a pretty resolute kingdom. If you know their weakness, right, their slow speed, hopefully you can take advantage of that and massacre them like we did here today. Yeah, they're out of here. Back to the tavern. Another beautiful battlefield. Of course, things are always more beautiful when you're victorious. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and we're coming to sort of the culminating stage of this campaign. It's gotten very difficult. We're routinely facing 2 or even 3, sometimes even 4 times our number. But as you can see here, 550 losses, and the enemy lost 3,000, and a bunch of cowards fled. Right? So even heavily outnumbered, massacre. Obviously, it shows the advantages of advanced tactics. If you just F1, F3 this episode, this type of battle, you're going to lose for sure. You don't have any chance. You have to use some tactics if you're going to succeed, and that's especially the case when you're outnumbered like this. So please subscribe, all those kind of things. Leave comments if you're interested. I appreciate all you subscribers, and I'll see you friends next time.